Hi everyone, welcome back to Whiskers. Today, we're excited to be joined by Eileen O'Rourke, the academic advisor for the Northwestern women's soccer team and associate athletic director of academic services. We talk about her collegiate rugby career, how she helps student athletes not just survive but truly thrive off the pitch, and stick around to the end to hear her number one tip for academic success. Let's get into it.
So fun. Thanks for having me. You got it all correct. For a former Division I student athlete, really interesting. Rugby is an emerging sport, and I went to Eastern Illinois just to go to school. And my coach there at the time just recruited athletes. And I had gotten some offers for Division III basketball, but decided not to do it. And so I walked on to our varsity rugby team, and it was the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. Totally changed my perspective on sports, just like team building, and really ultimately what led me into a career in college athletics. So it was pretty cool.
So what was the first you saw a flyer? Or a coach actually came to you and say, hey, I heard you're an athlete, come out, or a friend?
No, I actually saw a flyer, yeah. So that's pretty much how we got most of the team.
And how long in your brain was it like, I want to do this? Immediate?
It was pretty immediate, yeah. I chatted with my dad. My dad's originally from Ireland, so more familiar with rugby than those in the States, and especially in the Midwest. And he said, yeah, I think you should maybe check it out. And so I did like a tryout and was on the team in January. And it's a fall sport, similar to soccer. Picked up the sport pretty quickly after 6 months, and off we went. And I played for 4 years. So it was incredible. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that gives us a pretty natural segue into the first question we have for you, is what even got you started in student athlete support in the first place? Obviously, you played a collegiate sport, so was that like a pretty easy transition for you, or did you initially have other plans post-college?
Yeah, I definitely had different plans-ish. So I went to Eastern Illinois. My original plan out the gate, which is what I studied, was history and education. I thought I'd be a high school history teacher, maybe coach high school basketball, maybe be a high school athletic director. And so I went through that process. Eastern Illinois, smaller Division I school, so not as many resources. They had one athletic academic advisor there who worked with all sports. Oh, yeah. So essentially, if you didn't need help or you weren't in trouble, you didn't see them. And so I didn't know their day-to-day, what that looked like. And so my scope around athletics was limited to what I'd experienced, high school athletics. So that was the plan. I went all the way through. The final thing you do is student teaching. So you do it for an entire semester. I did that and felt like it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. So my rugby coach at the time, we had a head coach, and then our assistant coach was a GA position. So he said, I'd love for you to come back. Why don't you apply to a grad program and be my graduate assistant coach, which is what I did. And at that point, I went into the Master's in Sports Administration program. And that's when it kind of opened my eyes a little bit more to what the options and opportunities were. And then I just started networking and talking to different people and realized that there was this entire world of athletic academic advising at some of the higher Division I well-resourced institutions. And it just felt like it was the perfect blend of what I wanted, right? Like this idea around education, lifelong learning, but still being connected to the student athlete and the athletic experience. And so yeah, kind of curved a little bit to get to the end goal, but I've absolutely found my calling, and I love exactly what I do. So pretty cool.
Great. That's very cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. Yeah. Really, really cool, if I'm going to add on to what Rich was saying there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how does your experience as a student athlete, and also just like that whole process that you just talked us through, where you kind of had a pivot in terms of what your career expectations were, how did all of those things inform like the current work you do with athletes?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think not that I think you absolutely have to have it, but having former student athletes in some of these types of roles helps just even give you kind of notoriety, right? Of like, I've been through what you've been through at some level. And so a better understanding of just what your day in and day out looks like. It's very real for me. It's probably even more advanced than when I was in college, but definitely understanding that component. And I think also like my journey of finding the career that ultimately I'm in now was unique and different. And I think everybody's journey looks like that. And so I tend to use myself as an example when students are sitting in front of me and say, I don't know what it is I want to study, or I need to be doing this for XYZ. I always frame it that I was a history major and I have a job and I love what I do, right? And so especially at a place like Northwestern that is very liberal arts focused, they want you to have kind of a little bit of everything, showing them like an actual person that like, hey, this can work the way that it's intended to, of like having this breadth and depth, and then going into whatever career field you want to do. And so just trying to use those experiences for sure tend to help a lot when I'm chatting with students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure that adds like another layer of sympathy as well. That's very useful in this job. I remember I've been in spots where I'm like, oh my gosh, they're gonna think I'm so stupid. I need to like drop this class, or I need to make this change in my schedule, and like being able to come here and talk to not just you but everyone in the department, and immediately like understand like, no, we can like work this out, probably because like you've been in similar spots before as a student athlete, so it's very easy to relate on that level, which might be more difficult if you didn't have like that firsthand experience in college athletics, or even just as an athlete in general.
And I think too, like coming from a maybe like a lower resourced institution, you know, we didn't have tutoring for student athletes. You're pretty much on your own navigating the college experience, which for some good reasons, right, that's helpful, but just having and encouraging students to like lean into the resources that are here, because they're exponential, right? Like there's just so many opportunities and resources. And so just like leaning into that and realizing that that's not always going to be the case in your life, right? Like you will, even outside of academic space, right? Like think about how quickly you can get in to see a doctor when you have an injury, or a physician. You don't have to call, you don't have to wait 4 or 5 months, you know, to get in to see somebody. So there's just like really unique things that happen within this experience that you want to make sure you take advantage of while you're here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, taking a slight pivot there, what is the most fun about your job?
Oh, I love
more
it.
light questions here.
Yeah.
Answers that, yeah.
Totally. I mean, so I've been at Northwestern. This is my 10th year now. And what's really one of the things I absolutely love is unlike campus advisors, sometimes, right, they have larger caseloads, or students kind of roll off, you know, based on what it is that they're in charge of. From what I tell students on their recruiting visit, from the second you step on campus until you graduate, we are in lockstep. And I just think to be able to see a student, whether that's 4 years or 5 years or whatever their time is here at Northwestern, to watch you all evolve is just like really special, and not something a lot of folks in our roles and academic advising roles get to have. And just have that a little bit more of like a personal relationship with you all is just so fun. And then, you know, even when you come back too, right? Like a few former lacrosse student athletes came through a couple weekends ago, and it's just fun, right? To see what are you doing, and to think about, you know, when you were kind of making jokes, but when you were an 18-year-old, or I remember during COVID, you know, like I was your alarm clock to wake you up in the, you know, like just kind of those really incredible relationships that you get to build with students is pretty special.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Rich also, he came up with this last question that I wish I came up with. I really like it. So do you want to ask it?
What is the worst excuse you've heard for someone not showing up for something or not doing something?
Can't say any of mine, by the way. So.
I thought the question was interesting, and I immediately I couldn't think of any women's soccer student athlete that would come up with anything.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, did not pay her beforehand to say that, guys.
Not at all. You know, there's some out there. I would say I tend to get the same ones over and over again of I forgot, or I didn't realize, you know, or I didn't see it on my schedule, which I love that one, especially now with how we integrate teamworks into everything we do, and the calendars into everything we do. I always find that as an interesting one. But yeah, I couldn't think of anything like super extreme, but those are the general ones.
I didn't realize the IDR.
I didn't oh yeah, there you go. Look at you.
Yeah.
The old IDR.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Google Calendar would probably give the average person like a seizure. So I'm usually pretty good about not giving the IDR excuse. I've like installed some prerequisites there to make sure.
I
At
love
least for me,
that.
I give more creative excuses. I
You've
think.
never been late
So.
for anything we've done. You've never.
You're not thinking about today. I appreciate that.
No,
So
you did exactly what I would expect, right? You let me know in advance. You were coming from class. Like, that's
cool.
very, very typical women's
Mine's a trick
soccer of you.
question. If I was here on time, you'd be like, wait.
That's
Let me like ask your professor. Yeah. Well, Rich, I'll let you.
Okay, we're
continue
going
on.
with this
Yeah.
is the speed round.
Okay.
Speed dating.
So
this
go
is
fast.
Super speed.
Okay.
These are the loves. What's your favorite? Are you a coffee or tea drinker?
Coffee.
Okay, what's your favorite coffee drink?
Maple latte from Backlot.
That was the next question.
I could drink it
Where
every
did you
day.
go? So
Every day.
Backlot.
Yep.
Backlot's on Central.
Yes.
That's a good one. It is a popular one.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
The maple latte. Do it. Iced, hot. It's great.
We like to talk about favorite local places, favorite restaurant or food place in town.
La Cocinita is a fan favorite
Muy
in our
bien.
house.
Muy bien.
Very good. Yep.
We love it. What do you love most about Northwestern?
That we do the best of both. I think it's pretty unique, and it's the reason why I came here. The fact that you can have high level athletics and academics, it's pretty fun. And I appreciate the liberal arts education.
Why, this is really important. Why do you love the women's soccer team as your favorite?
Yes. That's
didn't-
my
she didn't deny
favorite.
it, guys.
Yes. I think, kind of going back to my answer previously, like, you all are like a perfect example of the best of both. Like, I love having conversations with you because you all love the academic component so much, and looking into taking different classes. And if you think about your team, like, and look at the majors, like, it's pretty spread out, right? And so it's people that are really pursuing their love and interest from an academic, and that gets me excited. And then to know that, like, you guys are competing with the best of the best, and just seeing how well you've done in a really competitive conference, like, it's great. It's awesome. And you do it all in one quarter, right? If you think about some other teams, right, that play their seasons over, like, you all are doing it in such a really tight window. It's absolutely incredible.
Just how we scripted
We
it.
cannot share
Awesome.
this with the team. They have big heads. What's something non-sports related that you're secretly good at?
So I would say personally, I think I'm quite good at Candy Crush. It's my like.
Kind of block blast.
I have heard of it. Some of the first year women's soccer had told me about it, but then as I explained my Candy Crush kind of addiction, they were like, "You probably shouldn't download it," and so I haven't yet. And I also love a good Sudoku. Yeah, like they're things that turn my mind off, but still make me feel slightly like I'm doing something appropriate rather than like
And
strolling.
all the Candy Crushers out there, the gauntlet has been laid down.
There it is.
Here we go. Okay, this is you admitted earlier. This is a hard one. We all know and love Willie the Wildcat, but what would be your personal mascot?
Yes. I needed a minute to think about it, but I'm going to go with an octopus, which I know is a little out there.
From golden retriever to octopus.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
I think the idea, I was thinking about it in terms of like my job and everything that I do here. Not only do I get to advise the incredible women's soccer team, but I also oversee our academic services unit. And so it's a lot of things managing kind of all at once. And so, yeah, the idea of an octopus came to mind, of just like managing really high level stuff to just kind of like everyday student things and just making sure that nothing goes awry. And so having multiple hands helps with that.
You guys do a ton of stuff, so I like that too.
That's a
Just
good one,
don't make her mad, or else the ink comes out.
You better believe
I
it.
know that was the unsaid one.
Well, I know the players are super thankful, and we are, for all the work that you do. You run a great shop. So we thought we'd finish up with a couple like advice type questions that you could give to the listeners as well as that you give to our athletes. So you want to go through those last couple?
Yeah. Well, we had previously talked about how excuses have evolved, especially in light of new technology and just like the academic landscape changing. What are the biggest academic or personal challenges you see student athletes facing today that might be technology related, personal, otherwise? Just what comes to mind there?
For sure. Definitely when you say technology, right, I just think right away about like artificial intelligence, and it's very real and it has significantly great benefits. But then also knowing that you can be in 4 different classes with 4 different policies around that. And sometimes that can be challenging. And also knowing that it's like everywhere and you can't avoid it, right? You open up a browser, it's right there, right? So, that can be challenging of finding the appropriate ways to use it and not use it. But then I think also just like, no matter what college you're going to, there's an adjustment from high school to college. And a lot of the times I'm trying to be like the best cheerleader possible because it could be intimidating, right? That first time you step into a classroom. And so just really trying to pump people up of like, you're here for a reason, right? Like you are incredible. You have really unique ideas and thoughts and like you should want to share those. And so just trying to get, first years right out the gate to be open to that idea so that it builds that confidence academically.
Yeah. Cool. So next question, what advice do you like to give recruits and their families when they come in to learn more about the school, the teams, just what there is to offer here, especially in like that the academics and athletics, like the combination is just so high?
Yeah, I try to kind of just name that elephant right away, right? To kind of just like set the stage of like, sure, you can, read online about the, incredible successes that Northwestern has, how challenging it could be to get into a place like this, right? Given its size, but to kind of call it where it is of like, I wouldn't be meeting with you if our coaches didn't think that you fit, what makes the most sense for a Northwestern student and then also as an athlete on our women's soccer team. So just kind of naming that right away and then just talking about all the support services where you'd really have to try very hard to not succeed because there's just so many resources available. And once you're here, it's just college. I don't want to downplay it by any means. I know you all work so incredibly hard, but I think students find within, the first quarter or two that like, okay, it's not maybe as bad as I thought as, when I was a 16-year-old or 17-year-old, what it was going to be like and being able to manage and balance it. And if anyone can do it, it's high-level athletes, right? Where you just know how to thrive under pressure, work on tight timelines. Your work ethic is like none other. All of that translates to the classroom, and that's what makes it really smooth. And so that's kind of like my pitch to recruits is like, you're already doing all of that. We're just changing the environment that you're being put into. And then we have all of these support services that are wrapped around you to make sure that you can be as successful as you want to be.
Final question, which this one is Rich's, so I will let him proceed.
If you had to pick one thing or you had a couple steps to be like, this is what my advice would be to you as a first year to smash college, just like crush it.
Office hours are underutilized in your first year. It can be intimidating, I think, right? If you think about like going in one-on-one to have a conversation. Some people have the personality more for that than others.
Specifically like with a professor or something.
You got it. Yeah. With a professor, TAs are usually easier to approach, right? Because those are our students. But I've never had someone go to office hours with a professor and say like, oh, that was a waste of time, right? You come out of it a lot better off, whether it's just knowledge, understanding, building a relationship with your professor, right? Like these people are incredibly smart and gifted, and like being able to connect with them on more a one-on-one level is just really can be a difference maker, especially, if it's during the fall when you all are traveling, right? And you're going to be missing class a bunch. And so like, not only does it show you're engaged in your effort, but it's really just going to help you in the long run. So it takes some nudging to get first years to do that. But I think if once you get comfortable with that, I think the sky's the limit because that is a significant game changer.
Yeah.
Go see your professors.
Yes. Kinkin room is very helpful.
And they're regular people, right? Like I understand it's like intimidating sometimes, but like just think about it if you ran into them at the grocery store or something, right? Like they are much more kind of willing to kind of be a little bit more relaxed in office hours than maybe they might appear in the classroom. And so it's totally worth it. Totally worth it.
Yes, and I've never been turned away by a professor, talked down to. Like most of the time, they're like thrilled that the fact that you're even there to show up and to ask for the help versus waiting till you're already sinking, like you've dug yourself a hole. That makes things a lot harder. So I learned early on, staying on top of the office hours. Maybe you're not even sure if you need it. I would say just go.
Yep. I love that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything to add, Rich?
No. I haven't had class in a while, so I don't know about
Good point.
It sounds like great advice.
Yes.
Perfect.
So.
Well, we're so excited to have you here. We are in Eileen's office in the Academic Center, and this is a great place for people to learn and grow and find the classes they're going to take and meet some wonderful people. So.
Sure. Thank you so much, Eileen. It was great to talk to you. You'll be seeing more of me for sure. Maybe if Rich decides to take a class, maybe he can pop up in here as well.
Yes, I could use some advice for you.
I'm open for consulting. Yes,
Amen.
no problem. Yeah. No, this is awesome. Thanks for asking me to do it.
Okay, go Cats.
Go Cats.
Cats.